Hey, it's Michele, and this episode is for all you rebels out there who won't take no for an answer. When someone tells you that you can't lose weight, you can't reverse your diabetes, you can't get rid of your acne, or whatever it is, you tell them, yes, I can. Welcome to the Cut the Stress show, formerly the I Cut the Mustard show, where you'll learn how to stop stressing, stop stress eating, and finally create the body that you can enjoy forever. If you're ready to lighten up, pun intended, then you're in the right place because you shouldn't have to hate creating the body that you love. Hello, I want to start off today's episode by telling you the story about this amazing woman called Heather Laptallo. Whenever I was training to run my marathon, I think I'm one and done, but I'll let you know about that in the future. But my one marathon, I decided it was something that I had to do. And when I was training for that marathon, I listened to lots and lots of podcast episodes. And one of the ones that I like to listen to was the Sonia Looney show. And on her show, she has Heather Laptallo come over. And she is just this amazing. She had the most amazing story. She has 4 rods in her back, and currently 85% of her spine is fused. So whenever she was younger, her back wasn't growing properly. I'm not sure what disease she had, but her back wasn't growing straight, wasn't growing properly. So she had to have a bunch of surgeries where they ended up fusing her spine together and putting rods in. And because of some of the surgeries, she lost 40% of her lung capacity. And the doctors told her she's never going to be able to run. You're going to be pretty much immobilized your whole life. And she had to wear this big brace and stuff. It was a crazy story. But I loved this story. I loved hearing her talk because she was so determined, and deep down she knew she was a runner. And whenever they took her brace off, she would go run. And after her final surgery of the spinal surgeries, she would just go out and run. She decided, you know what, I'm just going to start wherever I'm at and I'm just going to keep running. And one day she was running around the track, and there was another guy just in the stands watching her run, and he said, man, who do you run for? And she said, I just run for myself. Leave me alone. Like, this is my time. So she just absolutely loved running. She did it for herself. She knew she was a runner. She wouldn't take no for an answer whenever the doctors told her she couldn't do anything. She just always went out and did it anyway. And I love this story. And that man in the stands turned out to be a coach for a university cross-country team, and he recruited her to come be on the running team because she was running 5-minute miles, or 5.5 minute or something around there. Just ridiculously fast. If you're a runner, you know that's super fast, especially for someone who has her spine totally fused together. And she's in pain all the time, but she says when she runs, she feels free. And I just love that. And I want to talk to all of you who know that you're more than what you're built for, right? All of you who know that you can be better than you are. You're not defined by the weight that you have on your body. You're not defined by your limitations, your physical limitations, or your diseases, and you know that you can conquer this. And I want to share a couple stories from my life, because whenever I was listening to this woman's story, I thought, man, I want to be like her. I want to have the determination that I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, no matter what the doctors tell me. And then I realized just the other day, I'm like, you know what? I am like her. I don't have the same trials that she has, but with the trials that I do have, I don't take no for an answer. And I want you guys to be like that too. So I want to share a couple of my stories. Whenever you've heard my digestive issues story a million times, but I would go to the doctor and they would be like, oh, it's too bad. You know, you've got celiac disease. There's nothing you can do. You're just going to be like that forever. And there's complications that come with that later. And then for a long time, I didn't go back to the gastroenterologist because I felt like it was a waste of my time. But once in college later, whenever those digestive issues just kept coming back around and we had insurance. So I was like, okay, the insurance is going to cover it. I'll just go again and see, like, maybe this is a good one. And he's going to tell me something. So I was nursing at the time. I just had my baby and I was nursing at the time, and I went and they did an evaluation, whatever, heard about my symptoms, and they recommended that I do a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. So basically you've got to fast for 24 hours. You got to drink this juice, crazy juice, so that they can I don't even do what they do. So, but anyways, it required 24 hours of fasting. So I would have to pretty much ruin my baby's nursing from that point on. For me, that's what it felt like. And then I asked them, you know what, after you do all those invasive tests, then what are you going to do? Because whenever I told them, I've tried this, I'm taking probiotics, I've tried this diet, I recently went vegan, they laughed at me and said, don't do that. Stop going vegan. Number one, you need to not be plant-based because that's going to kill you later. And then number two, they just laughed because they're like, oh, I've had a doctor tell me before, that's the poor man's way. Like, why are you even trying? But so I asked them, what are you going to do after I do this colonoscopy and endoscopy? What are you going to do then? Oh, we'll play with your diet. We'll give you some medicine, etc. So I said, you know what? I don't need to do that test. I can play with my diet on my own. And I left frustrated and determined not to go back to that doctor. But shortly thereafter, I figured out that probiotics were helping me a lot. I got into fermented foods. Like I said, I had just gone plant-based. That started working for me. And then shortly thereafter, I discovered that stress was my problem. And voila, here I am, pain-free. And very rarely do I have gas or bloating or any kind of pain. And when I do, I know it's stress. I fix the stress, problem solved. So it was frustrating to me to hear the doctors say, too bad. Because when I said, you know what, I'll just figure it out on my own, and I would ask them, isn't there something I can do? Isn't there some kind of dietary change I can make? And again, they would just laugh at me and say, this is just too bad. Some people just have terrible digestion, and you're just going to have to live with it the rest of your life, just like people who are diagnosed with diabetes. This is just something that you're going to have to deal with and just get over it and just surrender yourself to this problem, basically. And I say, no way am I going to surrender. I am not going to take no for an answer. I'm going to keep looking. The answer is yes in my book. So I kept looking, and it made all the difference. And whenever, with my marathon as well, I just felt like wanting to give up several times, oh, this seems so hard. It's so impossible. There's a lot of people who feel like you can't do it. Like only amazing unicorn people do that, right? But I kept going. I said, no, I'm going to do this. And I've had terrible acne my whole entire life, especially in my 20s. It just really flared up, and this disgusting cystic acne all over my chin. It's on my back. It's in other areas of my body. It's just everywhere. It's insane. And there were times when I sort of gave up on it and I called it good. But, through the plant-based diet, it's gotten a lot better. And part of me recently has said, you know what? I'm tired of this. There is absolutely something I can do. I'm not going to take no for an answer, and I'm going to keep looking. And I've found a book about, it's called the Clear Skin Diet book, about some plant-based eaters who gave up fat for the most part and how that would help them. And it's been helping me. And I found some microfiber cloth that's been really helping my scarring. So I just think it's really cool. Like maybe my face isn't going to be super glamorous. Maybe it's not going to be 100%, but there's no downside to believing that it's possible. So I'm going to believe that it's possible. I'm not going to take no for an answer, and I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep my eyes open and keep trying. And I feel like it's going to get better little by little. And then the last example that I want to share is my wrist. So I fell off of the roof on my last day of roofing. I believe I've shared that story, but I broke both my wrists, dislocated my elbow. So I was running a couple months ago, 6 months ago, and I fell and I hit caught myself with my wrists again. So then, since then, my right wrist has kind of been bothering me. Not enough that it bothers my daily activity, like I can still do everything that I want to do in my life. But whenever I try to go exercise and I put pressure on it in a push-up or trying to do like a one-sided yoga pose or some kind of handstand sort of poses that require more pressure on my wrist, it's painful, and And if I push it too hard, then it's painful throughout the week. So eventually I asked one of my friends who is a fellow fitness instructor, and she appeared on the episode before. She's a yoga instructor. She's done Taekwondo. So I said, do you know anything about wrist injuries? Again, being a yoga instructor, do you feel like maybe it's just stretching? And if I just stretch it a little more, maybe it'll be better and I can keep doing yoga. And she's like, I don't really know. There's a lot of people that just have injuries, and that's just your weakness. That's your weak shoulder. That's your weak wrist. And you just kind of have to deal with it. And I don't blame her at all for that assessment. I mean, I feel like, there are certain things that maybe you can't do. But for me, the answer is yes. I don't take no for an answer. So eventually I thought, you know what? I bet there is something that I can do. And I'm going to go to the physical therapist and I'm going to ask them if they think that there's something I can do, if they can give me some exercises that might work. So just last week, I started going to the physical therapist again, doing some exercise on it. And I'm hoping that it at least gets to a point where I can do some yoga again, hardcore. So again, there's just no need to take no for an answer. I love being a rebel in that way, and I love being determined, and I want to instill that in you. I want you to decide that you won't take no for an answer. I want you to decide that it's possible, whatever it is that you're struggling with, whether it's losing weight. Honestly, the biggest thing, I'm just going on a big rant here. The biggest thing though is believing that it's possible, because once you believe that it's possible, once you believe that it's worth it, it's possible for you and it's worth it, then problems are solved. It doesn't matter what it takes to get there. You're going to do the work to get there. But whenever part of you doesn't believe that it's possible, and part of you doesn't really believe that that effort is worth it or that you're worth it, then you're not going to make the effort to get you there. You're going to stay stuck wherever you're at. So like I said, there's no downside to believing that it's possible, because then you're going to start taking action in that direction and you're going to get closer to that goal. So I just want to say to all of you that it's absolutely possible to lose weight. Even if you've tried everything, even if you're stuck, even if you've got a long way to go or a lot of weight to lose, it's absolutely possible to stop overeating. I used to think that this was impossible. But again, I just kept there's got to be just one thing. There's got to be a way. And I kept searching, and then I figured out how the brain works, and I figured out how it relates to stress, and I can stop overeating. There's still times that I rush back to my eating and I get out of the groove for a couple weeks, but I know what I'm doing and I know how to get back out of it. And I know that I don't have to stay there forever. And I know that one day I'm going to stop having those times whenever I dip back into it too, because it's not going to be worth it. Okay. So I remember also as a kid that they kept telling me that I'd be fat after I got married and after I had kids, like it's inevitable, oh yeah, you're skinny now, but just wait till you get married, or just wait till you have kids and your body totally changes, they'd always say. But you know what? I'm lighter now than I was when I got married. When I got married, I was a great size. Actually, I was feeling great. But since then, I've lost 15 pounds. By going on the plant-based diet and doing the changes and de-stressing like I have. So I'm lighter now than when I was married. And my wedding dress is big on me, even though I have had 3 kids. So it's possible, okay? I just have to scream it to you. It's possible. If you eat the right things, you take the right steps, if you stop stressing, then it's possible. Everything's possible. Everything's figure outable. And there's no downside to believing that it's possible. So whether you're struggling with weight, whether you're struggling with managing your diabetes, if you've got acne like me, if you've got digestive issues, most of these things can be drastically improved if you decide that it's possible. So I'm inviting you today to do that. Don't take no for an answer. Open your mind to the fact that it just might be possible and start to think about that. What then are you willing to do when your mind opens up to the fact that it even just might be possible? So I want to go back to what I mentioned last time, that you are worth it. Once you know that it's possible and you remember that you're worth it, then it is worth it to do the work to get the results that you want. It's worth it to eat healthy or take extra time in the kitchen. It's worth it to buy those extra, spend extra money on the healthy vegetables or the gym membership or or the climbing wall membership or whatever gets you excited about exercise, it's worth it. You're worth it, and it is possible. And I want to end with this. Whenever I went to physical therapy to get my wrist fixed, in the past I would have asked, oh no, how much is it? I don't know if I can handle it. But this time I didn't even ask because I knew that I was worth it. And it didn't matter how much it cost. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I want to get my body in the best shape possible. I want to break barriers, and I know that I'm worth it. So I didn't even ask how much it was because I knew I would do whatever it takes to pay for it if it was out of my price range, right? And the same is true for you. When you know that you're worth it, when you know that it's possible, you won't even question it. You'll just do whatever it takes. Are you ready to lose weight, take control of food, and create the body and life of your dreams? Then it's time to check out my Stress Freedom Program. In this 12-week program, you'll find the confidence, tools, and support you need to finally get the results you've been looking for. Check it out at coaching.michellevilsek.com.